The National Human Rights Commission on Monday held a day-long validation meeting to validate its first annual report that will be submitted to the National Assembly on the status of the implementation of the White Paper on the TRRC recommendations. Among the many recommendations accepted by the government is for the National Human Rights Commission to be given the responsibility of monitoring the implementation of the TRRC recommendation, and in that capacity reports on the status of implementation and provides an annual report to the National Assembly. The validation meeting brought together members of the civil society organizations, victim-led organizations, National Assembly members, and other dignitaries. In his welcoming remarks, the chairperson of the National Human Rights Commission, Emmanuel Daniel Juve, highlights the overview of the validation meeting.
The NHRC organized this one-day validation before we submit the report to the National Assembly. Now, this convergence today has brought together monitoring committee members comprising of various stakeholders, government and non-government organizations, including victim-led organizations, and we are going to review the draft report, which has been shared with all of you, and provide additional information to enrich the draft report and to make it comprehensive. The monitoring committee will today also discuss the implementation of the government white paper 1 year after the release of the white paper. We will review the draft prepared by the NHRC with your inputs. We'll obtain additional information from stakeholders, as I said, in order to enrich the draft. We'll also identify the challenges that is likely that we're going to face, and we'll advise the government.
The TRRC also recommended that the National Human Rights Commission be responsible for the archiving and digitalization of documents, information, and materials emanating from the TRRC to help in preservation of the impartial historical record of human rights violations that the TRRC was mandated to establish. Mr. Juve further stated some of the methods the National Human Rights Commission has been using to popularize the TRRC recommendations.
The NHRC has been popularizing the TRRC recommendations through programs, radio programs, using local languages. In fact, in June of 2022, a countrywide caravan was dispatched with Bright Star Entertainment Group popularizing the recommendations of the TRRC in the local languages using creative arts. For some of you who have been here before we started, you could see that we play actually that particular video clip that was used during that period. The NHRC, as early as February 2022, that is as early as February 2021, from the 16th to the 17th of February, even before the white paper was published, the NHRC organized a 2-day conference with the theme, The Next Steps After TRRC Recommendations. In this particular conference that we held, the convergence, various stakeholders, including victims, families of victims, the Ministry of Justice, regional and international experts were invited to take part in this conversation. The main objective of the NHRC then was to keep alive the recommendations of the TRRC, and most importantly, to listen to the voice and voices of victims and their families while we wait for the government to come up with the white paper.
The UN resident coordinator, Sarafin Wakana, shows her support for the validation of the report, stating that they have no doubt that the National Human Rights Commission will continue monitoring the implementation of the TRRC recommendations.
It's really important that the implementation of the TRRC recommendations be a success in the Gambia and a lesson to other countries. We have no doubt that the National Human Rights Commission will continue to do the same with regard to monitoring the implementation of the TRRC. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I will conclude by reiterating the importance of ensuring implementation of the TRRC recommendations with a view to promoting justice and accountability championed by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other international, regional, and national human rights instruments.
The chairperson of the National Assembly Standing Committee on Human Rights and Constitutional Matters, Honorable Madi Sise, said when the report is submitted, it will be an important tool for the National Assembly to adequately promote the implementation of the White Paper. He further called on the participants to thoroughly review the report to ensure that up-to-date information is provided on the implementation process to better guide the National Assembly members to engage the executive to ensure it implements the White Paper.
This report, when submitted, will be an important tool for the National Assembly to adequately promote the implementation of the White Paper. As the NHRC prepares to submit this report, I wish to assure the NHRC that the committee, that is Human Rights and Constitutional Matters, remains open to enhancing its cooperation with it and providing the necessary support to its work. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all the institutions that are present in this gathering are important stakeholders in the implementation process.
The National Human Rights Commission was established by the National Human Rights Commission Act 2017, giving the Gambia its first ever National Human Rights Commission with a mandate to promote and protect human rights. Reporting for Kerr Fatou, I am Ramatulai Jao.